Oh, what's up, party people? Today is day 46, and this is a very, very different intro. We are off to the gym. We have just got back from Amsterdam, but the strong never sleep, mostly due to sleep apnea. But yeah, so we're off to the local Pure gym. Today is my secondary deadlift day. Yeah, my secondary deadlift day, and to be fair, I think I'm just gonna do some like pause conventional or like maybe slow wedge conventional. So I'm looking forward to that. What have you got today?
Deadlifts and secondary bench.
She's got deadlifts and secondary bench. So it's should be a pretty good day. Right now I am just a shadow because the sun is behind me. I am your father, Luke. That's the kind of vibe I got going on right now, just because the camera cannot see me for shite. Woo, that is a cool car. That's a very cool car. But yeah, so we will wrap up today, get back into the routine, and I've got some very big news about who my new coach is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's big, it's bad, and I'll tell you when everything's set and ready. But we'll see you in the gym. Catch. That was good fun. Like the slow initiation worked quite well. I'm going to try it with some straps on like 220 back downs, just see if I can get a little bit more incorporation for like not yanking on the bar so much. Because yeah, I'm just very much like up with conventional, and I need to be a little bit more like build, up. That's what I'm going to build towards. So I think the battery for the receiver is going to die. So what we're going to do is no more talkie. You're just going to see top set, back off set, accessories, maybe. Might be a no accessory day, we'll see. But I've got a 6 count Larsen press pause. Charlie's got 2 count off chest pause. So sit back and enjoy. What's up, everybody? So I'm recording this a few days after that session, just because I ended up not doing an intro. Charlie and I were just kind of really tired. We just got back from Amsterdam. We were really out of our schedule. We kind of just went, you know what, it can't be asked for this. And I forgot to do my outro. But I thought I would kind of take this time to, one, say thank you to everyone that is supporting the channel, that is watching the videos both on here and following me on, TikTok and Instagram. It does kind of mean the world to me. It's enabled me to have the life I have and the ability to just, like, even at the most basic of times, just like pay the bills. Like I get to wake up and eat what I want and go to the gym when I want, and I get to coach people who are passionate about the same sport I am, and I'm really fortunate for that, so thank you. In the same vein of that, I thought I'd just kind of talk about where I want to go with the sport, where I think the sport needs to go to survive, especially in the UK, which is where I'm based. There's so many people that you see online, like Russell Orhis, like, Jesus Oliveras, like Jonathan Keiko, and I think we forget that the US, I am pretty sure by far has the best infrastructure for athlete sponsorship in the world. Whether that's, you take a look at like the NFL or the NBA, and like even their powerlifters make more money than probably like our doctors do over here in the UK, just for the sake of there are so many more brands, there's so much more like push for entrepreneurship in the US, and their athletes all receive sponsorship because there's so many companies that make their living from the sporting industry over there, and they all want the best, and I think it's amazing. I therefore think that in the UK it's something we're seriously lacking. And when I first started my business, because I realized we've not really talked about my business, which is Dirty Agency, it was an agency. It was like hey, we need to get more athletes sponsored in the UK. We need to get more businesses over here. We need to get more money into the sport. And unfortunately, what I realized a while ago is that companies in the UK don't actually want to put money into the sport. They just want to pull money out. And that is fair enough. That's business. But we're in this really strange limbo in the UK at the moment where we need to evolve. This sport needs to become the next level in order to gain sponsorship from international companies. Because at the moment, the main sponsors, if you're a GB powerlifter, is like Avancus, barely. I don't know if there's any actual Avancus people in the UK, but it's like Gymshark, A7, SBD, and like Vanquish. And realistically, Gymshark and Vanquish Fitness won't sponsor you unless you are an influencer, realistically, unless you they don't care if you're the world's strongest powerlifter. They don't care if you've got like a 320 bench. What they care about is you look insane and you've got a great following. And that's their demographic, fair enough. So what you're left with is okay, SBD and A7. Well, A7, as far as I'm aware, just only sponsor a few individuals. They tend to keep their circle relatively small because they do pay their athletes, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. And SBD, as far as I'm aware, just rest on their laurels because they've become so big at this point, they can go, we don't need to sponsor people. We can go, here's a 10% discount code, and we'll help pay for your flight out, which is $1,000. And when you think about an international company that pulls in millions a year, the fact that they're so tight around 4 figures is insane to me. But the realization I came to is the sport won't reach the level of notoriety necessary for an agency to work that's based in the UK. And what I noticed was all the major agencies in the world, funnily enough, run out of the US. And it's kind of this sobering realization that, I don't know, I guess entrepreneurship in the UK isn't dead, but it is not a level playing field. Like, if I started this company in the US now compared to how I started it in the UK, it's ridiculous how much better off I'd be in the US. Because, I've reached out to US companies and they've gone, if you were representing US athletes, you would have our deal, you'd have the numbers you asked for. And like, I worked it out, I'd be earning 6 figures a year in the US. It's genuinely ridiculous, the offers I've had turned down, because they don't want to touch the UK athlete market. They don't want to be involved in a market that is so diluted, and like, it's rich with talent, but it's so kind of washed at the same time, because our best athletes aren't, you know, necessarily putting out huge amounts of content, which is fair enough, but you can't blame them, because none of our athletes can make a job from that. Like, apart from maybe like 2 people in the GB team who are these, you know, Instagram influencers, I think every other GB athlete works a 9 to 5. I don't know any of them that are just paid to be an athlete. And it's crazy to me. And it's so much of this like sense of resting on laurels. They just don't need to push themselves, these companies, because there is no company that is threatening their existence. And like, I remember reaching out to Redcon 1, and they were like the first US company, because I was like, their pre-workout would wipe the UK market. It's so much better dosed, it's cheaper, it's better like quality. It would wipe every pre-workout in the UK. And I messaged them, and they were just like, yeah, we stopped shipping to the UK because it just didn't work. And I was like, well, hey, look, I can link you up with UK athletes. We can make you known. And they were like, the UK market is not worth the trouble. And that is something that I just got back in spades from every country that I tried to talk to, was the UK market is so high-walled with barriers to entry. Like, the SBDs and all these other companies have made sure that it's so saturated with crap sponsorship that these individuals, you know, the US companies trying to push in, just can't get above the noise. And it's like, we as a sport will die in the UK because we can't make athletes athletes. We take people who work 9 to 5s and then ask them to compete against people who live, breathe, get paid and shit powerlifting. And you wonder why, although we're one of the better known nations, we still struggle to have as much dominance as the US. And also, it's ridiculous, the fact, like, you know, we've got such great talent, you know, in the juniors with people like Nojo and Joshua Ngoka, and then, you know, Masters, we've got Tony Cliff, and in the Open, we've got Addy, and we've got Urin. Like, we've got all these amazing athletes. And at the end of the day, imagine how many more and how much better those athletes would be if 9 to 5, it was like, you get to wake up and spend time with your family because you're paid to be a powerlifter. Like, what to you makes you the best powerlifter? And it'd be like, I wake up, I spend time with my family, I don't have to worry about my bills, I can buy the food and the supplements I need, and I can train when I want. Imagine how much better these individuals would perform if that were the conditions they were given, and then ask, would the US still be the powerhouse it is today? And it's crazy. It's crazy. We need one company, US, UK, European, somewhere. We need one company to come in and go, this is our product. We will sponsor athletes to talk about it, but we're going to sponsor them enough money that they don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore. And if you just got one international name who no longer had to worry about money, who no longer had a 9 to 5, their performance would go through the roof, and then suddenly every athlete would want to be sponsored by them. And it's just crazy. We actively compete disadvantage for the sake of making British companies who are lazy more profitable. And I just don't understand it. But yeah, that's just a little 9 and a bit minute intro into my thoughts and my experience in kind of the British powerlifting. I apologise if I've rambled on at all, but yeah, I thought I hadn't really talked about the business side much, if at all, and I thought I'd just kind of give you an insight into what it's like to try and be a business owner and a powerlifter right now. It is difficult. It is truly an uphill battle for those involved. And I do look at
you know, places like Texas where powerlifting is, I'm not going to say it's as big as football because it's not, but it's like the hub of powerlifting in the US. And I just think you could move out there, you could buy a sod off house for like 400 grand. That is 12 times bigger than anything in the UK, with a ranch and an F-150 pickup truck. And I could go be a powerlifter, and guess what? I'd be paid to be a powerlifter. And you'd have a business, and like even my partner said, like the business she wants to run, if she ran it in the US, we'd be millionaires. But you try and run it in the UK and it won't even take off. And it just shows you how oppressive this country can be if it's not just, if you don't just already join a company that's there. I think right now it's very hard to make a life of your own. And it's really interesting. But hey ho, I guess that's the struggle of life. So this ends out what is a little bit of a different video. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have any questions, please do drop them in the comments. But I've been the Bench Viking, and I hope your lifts stay big, your stresses stay really damn small, and I will see you for the next episode. Catch.